the other people being targeted. And I said, oh my gosh, things are absolutely totally out of control. And I will tell you that yes, 9/11 was a gate that was open for all this garbage. This we're going to protect you even if it kills you type of attitude. I was at NSA for 9/11, and 2 days after it happened, we went back to work. And I was going to my office, and there was a man standing in the hall who was being comforted by about three women. He was crying like a baby. He was a man in his 40s, and he just was heartbroken and crying and sobbing like a baby. And I tried to quietly walk past, to give him respect. And then he started saying some things that I found horrifically disturbing. He said, no one had to die. Stopped me in my tracks. He said, we had all the information we needed to stop the attacks.
Yeah.
No one had to die. Upper NSA management threatened us. They told us to shut the hell up or else, but we could have saved all those people.
Right, and a lot of people, when the people who have investigated the 9/11 incident, have gone as far as to saying it's possibly an inside job and that our government was responsible. But one of the prevailing theories of what had happened was that it was just allowed to happen so that they could roll out the Patriot Act. This is like the same thing that happened with the attack on Pearl Harbor, where the president allowed it to happen so that they could go to war, which is what they wanted to do, but they couldn't. He couldn't get Congress behind him until the United States was attacked. And so same sort of thing where the government is allowing it to happen and sacrificing people in the process, and then turning around and utilizing it, as the Democrats say, no good, don't let a crisis go to waste, right? So that's exactly what they're doing. So perhaps that's the same thing that happened with this virus that came out of China. There are reports, and I know Ron Paul and Tom Cotton have been really on Anthony Fauci's case recently about his involvement in funding from the NIAID to people who worked in the Wuhan lab or companies surrounding the Wuhan lab. And it's quite possible that our government worked with the Chinese government covertly to release this virus and attack the American people as not only an economic weapon to destroy us, but a psychological weapon to demoralize us. And then on top of it, another excuse to turn up the heat on surveillance in the form of, as you mentioned, Adrena, in the form of the vaccine passports and the social credit score and things of that nature, which they're going to be rolling out shortly, and people will openly welcome it out of fear. And that's how they get you. They utilize fear as a means by which to get the public to go along with this. Correct?
Correct. They're actually, if you look at the pattern of how they target, they did the same program, except they did it on a larger scale, and they did it to the whole country. So you got hit with bioweapons, defamation, demoralization, surveillance, isolation, deprivation. This happened, people are locked in their homes with their masks. It's basically the program under health, like, oh, it's good for you. So under health, medical martial law, they ran the program on the entire country to usher in their agenda, while using the intelligence apparatus and abusing it. And now under white supremacy, you get to be on the watch list. Under medical tyranny, you get to be on the watch list. If you're somebody that believes in the Second Amendment, you get to be on the watch list. If you're somebody that believes in the Constitution, really, or if you're some kind of patriot, you get to actually reserve a space on the watch list. So they've
Right.
used the program and this abuse it on such a large scale that I'm pointing it out so people really get to see that they really just ran a program on the whole country, including the street theater, which you saw with BLM, Antifa, which you're still continuing to see. Those are paid actors and agitators that have been put there by design. It's no different from targets where it is clearly more aggressive when they do it individually to people. But in a nutshell, they ran the whole program on the whole country under the guise of medical,
Necessity.
right, like the
Right.
pandemic, basically. Yeah. So
Pandemic. That's a great word for it. And that word has been, it's very appropriate to use. And there's this pattern here and repeating pattern. And that I think is their Achilles heel, right? Because they have something that they know works, and they use that same play over and over and over again. And so those of us who are aware of how they do what they do and know the playbook can see the next steps, can see what's coming, and in many ways it's disturbing to those of us who are awake and aware. It's a heavy burden to bear, and a lot of people are just, I was talking to you about this earlier, Adrena, that a lot of people can't even grasp the concept that our government that they trust would do something so heinous and so evil to its own people. And therefore they've developed this sort of this cognitive dissonance around the just the thought of something, because people don't think along those lines. People aren't evil. Generally, most people are good. And so they can't, wrap